My topic is digital game-based learning of information literacy for academic writing. And before talking about what this game is, why I developed this game, how I developed it, and how I did a research on it, I'd like to share my motivation of doing this first. Well, I want to do something about students' learning of information literacy because I'm an English teacher and I have been teaching academic writing for 10 years. My observation is that students' writing problems are not simply about the grammar, vocabulary, or organization of their writing, but actually, to a large extent, their problems are related to their poor information literacy. Like when we write academic essays or academic articles, we need to find evidence to support our arguments. And we need to be able to identify the best or the most appropriate information, the most relevant and best matched studies or literature to support our points of view. So it involves lots of skills like identifying the information, evaluating the information, selecting the information, applying the information, and integrating the information into a piece of writing. And all of these are actually the information literacy skills. So that's my first motivation of doing it. I want to help students to write better. And I want to help them to be able to find, identify, evaluate, and apply the most suitable and appropriate and relevant information to support their writing. Then I think, like, if I want to help students learn information literacy, how can I teach them or in what ways? Then my second motivation is that, well, I want to develop a digital game because games can motivate students to learn better. They can promote their engagement. And also to some extent, because of the higher motivation and engagement, they can perform better. So these are the backgrounds. And then I'm thinking about like, okay, based on what theory or how can I make it a scientifically well-designed game? Then it came to my mind like the flow theory. It suggests that if students want to learn effectively, they have to be engaged. They have to be deeply involved in the learning. And we need to kind of immerse them in a very good learning environment where they feel they have the sense of control, they feel that they know what they are doing, they can decide what they want to do, and they have immediate feedback. So I'm thinking, okay, based on this flow theory, I want to develop a game, and so that when students play the game, they can enter a flow state. Then, well, these come to the three key elements that I want to realize or I want to integrate into my game. The first one, goals and rules, and then feedback and sense of control. So after deciding like what I want to do, what elements I want to decide include, then I need to choose a tool that I'm going to use to develop this game. And I choose RIBiLT MV because it's super easy to use. You don't really need to know how to do the programming language, or you don't need to be a technical person. I'm a language teacher, so I don't want to get some very difficult tools. So I recommend this tool to you, RIBiLT MV. If I know how to use it and I can develop a game using it, I'm sure you all can do that. Okay, so this is the tool, the basic theoretical framework, and the motivation. So now I designed the game. Like I'm thinking, okay, for this game, I want to involve three key elements based on the flow theory. I also want to have like the elements for knowledge improvement. Then I think, okay, I want warm-up questions. I want instructional videos. And after the videos, I want to give students some exercises so that they can consolidate what they have learned and apply the knowledge there. So this is the basic design plan. Okay, on the left-hand side, we have the goals and rules, sense of control, feedback, the three key elements. And how do I realize or tell the students the goals and rules? Well, firstly, I introduce the goal in the very beginning of the game. I set an NPC there, and the NPC tells the students, the players, what the goal is. After that, another NPC explains the specific rules, like what the students need to do so as to complete all the tasks in this game. And then the NPC also checks whether the players understand the goals and rules. If not, then the NPC will explain them one more time. Okay, so for the sense of control, we realize it by giving students an avatar. So the students have their own avatar. They can choose what types of avatars they want. And then they can control on the journey progress. They can decide how fast they want it to be. They can also decide how slow they want to be. They can skip some of the videos. They can go faster and jump to the end of the video if they feel that, okay, in this video, all the content, I know it. I just don't need to watch it one more time. I just want to go directly to the application part. Or if they feel that, I don't understand part of the video, I want to watch it one more time, then they can also, rewatch parts of the video. Then hopefully they have this sense of control. And for the feedback, we give students immediate answers, immediate feedback by giving them the answers to the questions. And if their answers are wrong, we also give them encouragement or compliment. So this is the basic design. We have 5 different venues. The first one, the Snow Point Castle. And in this Snow Point Castle, the students do the warm-up exercises, learn it through watching an instructional video, do some exercises, and receive the rewards if they pass all the activities. Topic 1 is how to use Google and Google Scholar. And topic 2 is how to use the search platform of the university library. And the venue 2 is the Sandland. Topic 3 is how to use databases of our university library. And topic 4 is how to evaluate the quality of the search information, how to decide whether they are reliable or unreliable, how to judge basically generally the quality of the journal articles or the books. And topic 5 is how to read academic articles efficiently. After that, we have a quick summary, finish the game. So again, this is the general design map, our concept map. We have identity, fantasy, and NPCs. So for the fantasy part, you can see this is the whole map with the 5 venues. And all these 5 venues, we kind of want to create a fantasy world, the snow castle, the green park, the sandland. And in these different fantasy worlds, the students, they have their own avatar, and there is the NPC. They can talk to the NPC and interact with the NPC. For the knowledge improvement, like I mentioned earlier, we have the warm-up questions. Like, for example, do you agree that we always have to read every part of an academic article? The students may say, oh, I don't agree, or I agree, and then the NPC will chat with the student for a while and then introduce our instructional video to tell them when we suggest that they read, or which parts they should read carefully, and which parts they can kind of skip. And after that, we give students some exercises for the sense of control. First, we let students to decide where they want to go. In the whole fantasy world, they control on the journey progress. And they can control how many times they want to watch the video, how fast or how slow they can watch the video, whether they are ready to do the exercises or whether they want to rewatch the video one more time. And for the interactivity, we realize it through providing students with the feedback. Some feedback on the incorrect answers, feedback on the correct answers, and feedback for compliment. For the controls and rules, so we introduce the goal in the very beginning. We explain the specific rules clearly, and we check whether students understand the goals and rules. For the rewards, every time when students complete one task or finish one part of mission, then we give them some rewards, different types of rewards. And when they connect all rewards, they kind of, they have this sense of achievement. And the basic storyline looks like this. All of these you look very fancy and complicated, but actually they are not so difficult to make. You can just use RPG Maker. You can decide as many NPCs as you want, and you can design the dialogue by yourself. You can design the map. You can create the map by yourself. You can choose whatever types of interactions you want. Okay, so pretty good. If you are an English teacher and you want to design a game, I recommend this. Okay, so now come to the research part. After designing this game, I'm thinking like, I want to know what modes, the gameplay modes, are the most effective one or the best for the students. So I'm thinking like, okay, 3 common modes, like solo mode. The student just play it by herself or himself. The competitive mode that 2 students compete with each other to see which one gets higher scores. And the collaborative mode that is 2 students play together collaboratively, complete all the tasks in the game. Competition. Well, we choose this because when competition is involved in game-based learning, learners attempt to perform better and win the game. So they might want to be more focused and perform better. And for the collaboration, when collaboration is involved, students exchange ideas and information and support each other to reach their common goals. So we feel that, well, collaboration can also facilitate students' learning. But we don't know which is better or both are good. And what specific effects do they have on students' learning, right? So we did this research study. In the briefing session, we introduced the game, and then we did a pre-test and pre-questionnaire survey to measure students' prior knowledge of information literacy, to measure their motivation and self-efficacy, and then 3 groups. 1 group play in the solo mode, 1 in the competitive mode, 1 in the collaborative mode. And after that, we did a post-test, a post-questionnaire survey, and we also interviewed some students to know more about their thoughts and feelings of the learning experience. And these are our results. Okay, first we find that digital games had significantly positive effects on students' learning of information literacy. And gameplay modes also have statistically significant effects. And the collaborative mode was the most effective. in terms of promoting their learning of information literacy. And the competitive mode is also pretty good, and both are better than the solo mode. That is, when two students learn together is better than one student learn it by himself. Okay, in terms of the learning motivation, we find that, well, again, the gameplay mode had significantly, statistically significant effects, and the collaborative and competitive modes were better than the solo mode. No difference between the collaborative and the competitive modes. And in terms of the self-literacy, again, statistically significant effects of the gameplay mode, while the competitive mode was the most effective in terms of students' self-efficacy. So for the flow experience, the collaborative mode was the most effective, followed by the competitive mode and then the solo mode. So we have these implications for teachers' practices or policies. First, we suggest that, well, teachers, we can help students to improve students' information literacy learning performance, motivation, self-efficacy, and flow experiences by encouraging them to play the games in collaborative or competitive modes. And teachers can also increase students' engagement in learning by adding collaborative and competitive elements. So we found this, or we believe that the key differences between these or among these three learning modes, gameplay modes, is that, well, when students play it in the solo mode, they feel a little bit lack of support. If they need any help, no one is there, or they are not so motivated to play it. They kind of feel that, oh, I'm a little bit lonely, especially because we conducted this research during the pandemic, and students are not so well adjusted to the pure online teaching and learning and the emergency remote teaching and learning. So they kind of have very negative emotions or feelings about the solo mode. So if you are a researcher or if you are interested in this type of research, I think if we redo the study again, now the solo mode, students in the solo mode may perform better, because right now our life is kind of back to normal. They may not be so eager to have friends or play with others. They may feel that, well, solo mode is still pretty good. And our results, even though the results indicated that solo mode is not as good as the other two modes, but still solo mode promoted very effective learning of information literacy. Then that indicates that, well, it's still very useful, especially if we cannot provide very good environments, or we cannot find two students to work together and play it. For the competitive mode, we interviewed the students and asked them why or what kind of prevented them to learn very effectively in this mode. They feel that, oh, because I want to win the game, or I want to play it faster. I really want to beat it. So they may skip some of the videos. They may feel that, oh, I know it, especially like sorry, let me come back a little bit. Especially for the first video, how to use Google and Google Scholar. Many students, especially when they play the game in the competitive mode, they skip it. They feel that, oh, I know how to use Google. I don't need to learn it. So they skip parts of the video. And when they watch the part about Google Scholar, they still feel that, oh, it's not so much difference between Google and Google Scholar. I don't really need to know it. So they tend to watch it faster, and they tend to, because they want to spend more time on the exercises, or they want to collect more rewards. I think this may influence it a little bit, and it may be the negative influences of competition. But when it's in the collaborative play mode, which is very good, is that two students, they may not be at the same level. So even if one student want to skip it, the other students may feel that, oh, I want to know more about it. So let's just watch it instead of skipping it, right? And for especially for the topic 2, how to use the search platform, the university library. The two students, sometimes they would, if they played in the collaborative learning mode, they would talk to each other. They say, oh, do you know this function, or do you know that function? Have you used it before? They actually, they are more relaxed. Not like when students are in the competitive mode, they just want to win the game. They feel the pressure of winning the game, but they feel more relaxed if they play it in the collaborative mode. So they spend more time discussing the content of the videos. And when they do the exercises, similarly, they don't really want to, do the exercises, get the rewards. They actually talked, and they ask each other whether they have used these strategies before, because in these videos we teach the students different strategies of searching for information and finding the most relevant information. For example, when we should use the quotation marks, when we should not, and what is the advanced search of Google Scholar, and how about the advanced search of the databases. And different databases may have different interfaces and different tricks or techniques that we can use when we search information in these different databases. So in the collaborative learning mode, students tend to talk more and spend longer time on watching the videos and doing exercises. We also notice that students watch the video more times when they are in the collaborative mode. When they are in the solo mode, mostly they just watch it once. Even though we tell them that they have the sense of control, they can control how many times they watch. But very interesting, when students do it in the solo mode, they just watch it once. They never rewatch any parts of it or skip any parts. You just do it. You use the default. Very interesting. And in the collaborative mode, they rarely, sometimes they stop the video and they go to Google or Google Scholar and really try it. They are willing, they are more relaxed. They are willing to spend time exploring different features and exploring the use of different strategies to search for information. And they also have different attitudes towards the exercises. They don't consider the exercises as tasks for their learning. They consider them kind of like assistance to help them better consolidate what they have learned previously. Because in the exercises, we normally ask them questions related to what we have mentioned in the videos. When it's in the solo mode, students kind of feel, oh, if they got the wrong answer, they just let it go. They look at it. The NPC said, oh, the correct, this is not the correct answer. Come on, think about what is demonstrated in the video. The students will just, I kind of feel that sometimes they randomly click ABCD to guess what is the correct answer. They don't have the pressure to think hard or to memorize what techniques or strategies have been introduced in the videos. They just randomly do it, let it go. I think this is the main reason why the solo mode is not so effective. While the competitive mode, students are too engaged in the competition. They really want to get the correct answer. So they try hard to guess it or try hard to get the correct answers, but they don't really spend time discussing about it. This is why in our discussion and in our implications for teachers and for future research and teaching, we feel that as teachers, we think the collaborative learning mode is really, really good to encourage students to talk more, to discuss more. The solo mode, like I mentioned previously, perhaps is because it's during the pandemic, so it doesn't work so well. I'm thinking about maybe if we conduct a similar study later, 1 year later, perhaps students can perform better in the solo mode. I don't know. we need to conduct another study so as to figure it out. And we also find that especially for like topic 5, because it teaches students how to read academic articles efficiently. If it's in the collaborative mode, students would chit chat a little bit. So, some students may say, "Oh, I really don't like reading academic articles. They are so bored. They are so boring. I'm so bored. I don't know what they are talking about. I fall asleep." So they have this kind of emotional support for each other. They share similar frustration. They share similar strategies that they use to help each other out, which is a very, very good part of learning. And I personally think this is a very good and important reason that our research results indicate that the collaborative play mode is the best in many different aspects. Okay, so back to the result. We also find that students have a little bit different attitudes towards the rewards. Like some students, they when students are in the competition gameplay mode, they care so much about the rewards. But in the other two modes, they tend to care more about the learning experience, the game, instead of the rewards provided in the games. Okay, so all these are some like very interesting findings concerning the different gameplay modes. And for the competition, different from these studies, we think that the attempt to perform better sometimes place positive influences on students' learning, but sometimes not so positive. Okay, collaboration is based on our research, is the best gameplay mode so far. Okay, so then these are the implications. The third one is that we encourage teachers to enhance students' knowledge comprehension and consolidation by integrating discussion, collaboration, and interaction in classroom activities. Because like I explained earlier, we found that when students have lots of discussions and when they have interactions, they do learn much better and they do feel more engaged in the whole learning process. Okay, so these are our references. And if you want more details about the whole games, the design of the game, the design of the research, you may go and read this article. We have very detailed reports of everything. Okay, so that's all for my presentation